Hey guys, welcome back to Anna's Guide. I'm so happy that you're here. And for today's episode, we're going to be diving into alone time, something that I love, something that I hate, something that happens often, and something that I don't know that I hope it never happens again. It's going to happen again several times in life. It's kind of part of life is being alone. And I think you realize that you are alone. Period. No, I'm kidding. No, but in life, when everything is said and done, the only person really around is you mentally. So how do you navigate that? And I think lately, especially this week, this topic popped into my mind because my boyfriend and my best friend were both out of town at the same time. Rude. As an extrovert, I was lost. I didn't know what to do with myself. I also went out of town, so I guess I can't really say much. But in reality, I ended up kind of considering this thing where I was feeling lonely. So what's the difference between being lonely and being alone? And also, how do you spend that time? And I think that there's a big part of alone time and loneliness that all it takes is a mind shift to see it differently and see what a benefit it is to get that really good quality one-on-one time in your own mind. But before we tap into today's topic, we're going to do our rosebud thorn. And this is easy because my rose, my bud, and my thorn, I think are all going to be on the exact same topic that I still can't shut up about, which is my rose. I ran yesterday 16 miles. Can I get a round of applause? Literally what? Okay. My little brother, who is the one who convinced me to run the marathon with him, came to LA yesterday and was like, we're going to go for a run. And I was like, okay, so another half marathon? And he's like, no, we have to go farther because what we're realizing is my bud is that the marathon is 4 weeks away. And the anxiety is kicking in as I feel how my body feels, which is my thorn. My knees are broken. I'm no longer in service at all in any way, shape, or form. These knees are not Megan's knees. I don't have that. I can't, they're, what do you want from me? I ran 16 miles. I'm sure I tore both tendons in my knees. I think my meniscus is severed right now. But we'll find out when I can walk in 3 days from now because I actually emotionally feel great about it. Even during the run, I only thought about quitting 16 times, once each mile. But I made it. And then I was like, wow, I'm so good at this. Also really fun. I'm just going to tell one more story about this running, and then we're going to get into the real fun topic of the day. My favorite part of the run was that my brother and I sat the night before and mapped out. He showed me this app on Safari where you can map out your run, where you just kind of click on a map and it adds up the distances so you can kind of know what your route's going to look like. And as I was kind of planning my route, I was like, okay, so we could do this loop, which I live not in the valley. I live in LA. So I was kind of doing streets that I was really familiar with, okay, just in my area. But then my brother was like, wait, but what if we just ran straight to the water and straight back? Which I am inland enough that is a shocking distance. That is a shocking concept. It takes you about 35 to 40 minutes to get out to the water. And the thought of running for 1 hour and also making it to the water is crazy. Is literally crazy. But that's exactly what we did. I'm probably going to put a little clip of it because I have a video of Michael running across the street and seeing the ocean and being like, oh my gosh, we just ran. It felt like the width of LA. Wow. You did it. Wow. Okay. And now we go back. That's what our run was yesterday. And then once we made it there, the best part was that we had to turn around and run back home. So just when I was proud of myself for making it that far, I realized that it was actually only halfway. And all the pain that I was feeling was only going to continue. But that is my rosebud thorn. The running, the marathon upcoming, and the pain that I'm suffering right now. If you have a moment, share your rosebud thorn with your besties. And then let's talk about alone time. Or maybe you are alone, so share it with yourself. Because that's going to go right into today's topic. And we're actually going to kick off alone time with a really important lesson. And it's that I think all of alone time is better with a shift in your mindset. There's a lot of benefits to being alone. And as an adult, I realize how much more I'm by myself. Especially now I live by myself. I have a partner, but we both travel really regularly. My friend groups have dwindled a little bit as I've gotten older to where like I really only have a couple consistent friends, and even then a lot of my friendships are long distance because I moved away from where I went to school, I moved away from where I grew up. All of those elements make it kind of difficult to feel like you have people around you at all times. And I'm someone who loves being around people. If I'm going to run an errand, you bet your bottom dollar I'm inviting whatever friend is free and available to come and run an errand with me. I think workout classes are so fun with friends. I think coffee runs are so fun with friends. Like, there's just this element of my life where I love company. And I love having people around. And I'm not sure what it really stems from deep down. I'm not sure if it's because my family was really tight-knit, where like we did everything together as a family. We never really separated, or even doing sports now as an adult, like doing triathlons or signing up for a marathon. I mean, I signed up to do it with my brother so he wouldn't be alone. That way we would have this sense of company together when we were doing it. But whether or not you like to be alone or not, there's a lot of benefits to being alone. Like, it reduces stress, enhances creativity, it gives you time to like reflect on yourself and become even more self-aware, which is obviously wonderful and helpful. It enhances focus, productivity, and it helps regulate your emotions. So those are all like medical health reasons that alone time is really beneficial for us. But I think that oftentimes in adulthood, we can feel like we're lonely, and sometimes the quiet is not as fun as you would have thought. But I either think that you can think about it as a bad thing, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad, I'm all alone, I have no one to spend my time with. Or you can look at this moment as like, oh my gosh, I am so lucky that I have this time by myself to spend it exactly like how I want to spend it. That's where I think the most important shift is in this mindset. It's this idea that alone time doesn't have to be seen as a negative. And I feel like if you've been watching my content at all for a while, I even have talked about this in the series of breakups. I've talked about this in Anna's Guide to Feeling Better. In all of these different videos and ways that I perceive life, I think everything that can be seen as a negative could also be seen as a positive. Not in a toxic positivity way, but in a way of like, not everything has to be bad. Also, everything that happens to you can be seen as a moment to grow. Like, I think everything does have a purpose and everything has an intention. And even alone time can be spent really intentional to benefit yourself. So what do I do when I'm alone? Because I, like I said, kind of spend a lot of time alone. I had the last 10 days by myself. I travel a lot for work and end up in hotel rooms alone. I mean, it's kind of my job to be by myself and film videos, which I think is kind of why I love videos and having somewhere that I share myself online. It's because it still makes me feel connected even when I'm by myself. Sharing videos is almost like capturing this moment of loneliness and sharing it with you guys and having so many other people be a part of it that it doesn't feel genuinely lonely. But some of my favorite things when I'm by myself is to watch the shows that I don't always get to watch. Like, one of my favorite TV shows is Grey's Anatomy, and I kind of forgot how much I loved that show until I was actually just visiting my sister in New York, and she was also rewatching it from the beginning, and I was like, wow, I need to watch the show again more. And so as soon as I came home and was by myself again, I started watching it because I don't really watch that show with Brew. It really is just a me show, and because of that, it's like, when I'm with him, I'm going to watch shows that him and I watch together, but I don't really get that time to watch those things because at night we're together most of the time. So watching shows that I love, doing activities that I love. I mean, I'm someone where when I'm with my partner, they are my priority, and I don't often prioritize myself or the things that I really like to do. I prioritize our group activities. Like, when we eat dinner, we're going to eat dinner together at whatever restaurant the two of us pick. When we have a night of the week that we're free, we're going to go home and watch like this TV show together, or go out and do something, or go see friends together. Oftentimes, like, the decisions that are made as a unit, not really made as an individual. So alone time gives me the opportunity and the chance to do exactly what I want, when I want to, and exactly what I'm thinking. Like, watching the shows that I want. Do I want to spend an hour going to pottery? I'm going to go spend an hour and go to pottery. Do I want to sit in front of my TV? Do I want to rot on the couch and scroll social media? Do I want to go to this restaurant that I've been dying to try that I just like haven't had the chance to go out for? All of those things end up being so nice, and especially like the one that I feel like I do the most often is I self-care like no one's business when I'm alone. If I have alone time, I put on whatever music I like, I put on whatever podcast I like, I go in my bathroom and I spend a solid 2 hours. I do my nails, I take a shower, I like do like my deep shampoo, conditioner, cleansing, leave-in conditioner, moisture mask, body oil, body wash, body lotion, exfoliate, shave every inch of my body. I mean, it's ideal. It's the dream. That's my favorite thing. And then you want to know what? No one's rushing me. As soon as I'm done, I'm silky smooth. I crawl into bed. I turn on Grey's Anatomy. I pass out. obsessed. Literally obsessed. So alone time can be such a good thing. I mean, think about the recharge that you get. You can either look at those scenarios and be like, oh my gosh, my house is so quiet and so creaky. Oh my gosh, it's probably haunted. That also crosses my mind. You can also sit and be like, wow, I wish that I like had someone to spend this time with. And I'm sure that there's a point where like loneliness and having alone time does become exhausting. Like when I was single, I mean, I lived with my parents, so I still kind of had this sense of community in that way with my mom and dad. And I know that living alone and not having a partner can maybe be a bit more straining, and you can really wonder like when your afternoons and evenings are going to fill up. But I think you'd be surprised how quickly you can fill your time if you really want to with being around people. I mean, people are everywhere. So take advantage of the nights that you don't have to be around people, because it actually is really beautiful and really nice. And like one day that era of your life is going to end where you are alone all the time, and you will be around either family or kids or parents or your partner, and you're going to have loved the experience that you had when you were alone. You're going to cherish the fact that you got that time to not only discover yourself, but put quality time into yourself in your loneliness. So don't let those days pass you by, because one day they're going to go away and you're going to wish you had them back. That's literally the definition of nostalgia. That's exactly what's going to happen. So every era of life is meaningful and intentional. And if you're in the one where you really get to treat yourself and be alone and be comfortable in your silence, give me some of that. Now let's hear from our sponsor at Aloe Moves. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be entering a new season after such a long summer, and I think that you know that fall is my favorite. It's the perfect time to check in and start something new, like a new fitness routine, or maybe training for a marathon. But with all the holiday and travel plans, it can be difficult to keep up with it. That's why I love Aloe Moves. Aloe Moves is a health and wellness app that helps me keep up with my wellness routine wherever I am. Whether you've got a full hour to work out or just 5 minutes, Aloe Moves helps you fit it right into your schedule. There's yoga, Pilates, and strength fitness from beginning to advanced. You can start a guided program or try a new workout, or just stay on track with what you're doing from wherever you are. And it's more than just fitness. There's meditations, sound baths, nutrition tips, self-care, and so much more. It's no surprise that it's an award-winning app. As you guys know, I'm training for a marathon in December, and I just learned about cross training, so I'm adding in a couple extra workouts like Pilates and yoga and a lot of extra stretching. So I'm so thankful that I have Aloe Moves to help me stay on track and keep up with every workout, no matter how much time I have to put into it every day. Aloe Moves is offering my listeners an exclusive 30-day free trial and 20% off an annual membership. Just go to aloemoves.com and use code Anna's Guide. That's aloemoves.com, code Anna's Guide for 20% off an annual membership and 30 days of a free trial. Once again, aloemoves.com with code Anna's Guide. I'm also going to share some more things that I really love about my alone time, and it's that I am naturally an extrovert. So if you're also an extrovert and you're like, wait, what do I do with my alone time? Because I can't shut up. First off, I make videos, like I said before. I love having that quality time to like make videos and make content and kind of share my creativity and still feel like, this is a silly thing to say, but like I'm still expressing myself in my alone time. Whether it's like through art, through reading, like having the company of characters, having the company of background noise on the TV, cooking, making my videos. Also, I am so guilty in my alone time, but this is one of my favorite things. Is it truly alone time? That's going to be a major question that you guys can answer for me if you're watching this episode. I catch up on all my FaceTime calls when I'm alone. When I'm like home alone for an entire day working and I'm like, okay, I have like 2 hours free. I've finished my work early. Like my day is wrapped almost. I have one more video that I'm going to make, or I have a couple more things or a few more emails to send. But like while I'm cleaning, maybe I will FaceTime call my friends that I haven't caught up with yet, or haven't caught up in a while with, that I know of things going on. Like friends who I know are having babies. I'll call them and be like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Oh my gosh, are you nervous? Is there anything that you need? What's life been like lately? Like catching up with those friends I think is so important, because I also feel like they are like entering such a different area of life that we don't always get free time. I call Joe all the time when I'm alone. I call Nicole all the time when I'm alone. Like those are my go-to friend calls. Kaylee I call. I mean, I literally FaceTime Danielle even if she's at work and I'm like, hey, what are you doing right now? Even though I like see her multiple times a week. I love catching up on my FaceTime calls and still getting that quality time even if it's not in person with people. That's often a really big way that I spend alone time, because it also makes me feel less alone. I do love the silence of my alone time, but there are moments that I'm like, man, I wish I had like someone to visit with, or I just kind of miss my people. Our devices are such a blessing. They offer so much opportunity. They have your entire family, all of your friends are at your fingertips. So, That's how I love to spend my alone time too, is catching up on the calls that I haven't gotten a chance to do yet. And some of my favorite memories actually of being alone are while I'm traveling. Because when you travel, especially in my adulthood, I'm traveling alone constantly. And what's wild is, this is going to go into another topic, is a lot of the times I'm traveling alone, but I'm surrounded by people. And that's how we're going to talk about loneliness and being alone in a moment. But I often end up like having this entire day where I go back to a hotel room and I'm by myself. But some of my favorite memories is how independent and productive and proud of myself I feel from an entire travel day where I ended up in the right place. And then I had to like go run an errand, and I went and ran an errand. And then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. And then I found a restaurant by myself, ate at it alone, and it was delicious and wonderful and fantastic. And like those moments make you feel so independent and powerful and capable that they like fulfill me in a different way. My like alone time makes me feel so empowered and makes me feel so capable and wonderful. And sometimes, not that I don't feel it when I'm with someone, but when I have somebody to make decisions with me, they don't always feel like they're 100% my decisions. You know, they're kind of like, I'm a natural people pleaser. I can't even help it. I will eat whatever you want to eat. I actually would rather not make the decision. I want you to tell me what you want, and then I want you to be happy. Like, just in my nature, I think a little bit passive, that when I have a moment to be independent and to go travel alone and to go make decisions on my own and be like, you know what, actually how I want to spend my time is going on a walk right this instant. So I'm going to go do that. I love that. I think that that's incredible. And I think that I feel really good about myself that when I come home, I've almost filled that cup a bit. So when I get back here and I can be a bit more passive and like let it go, I still know that I'm capable of it when I'm by myself. I'm almost like, once again, proving to myself that I'm able to make those decisions and I'm able to take care of myself and I'm able to do all those things. And I still have that little bug in me that's like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I can do that. That's some of my favorite memories, is just traveling alone and being just proficient at that and knowing that I'm capable of whatever I put my mind to when I have no one around. I don't need a man to change my tire. I can do that myself. Love. But pick what we're having for dinner. I don't feel like choosing. Now, here's a different topic that I feel like I felt this weekend a lot, because a lot of people in LA celebrated Halloween this weekend. And that is that I did not celebrate Halloween this weekend in LA. Funny enough, did not get invited to anything this weekend. I wasn't really looking for it either, though. Like, in all defense, I didn't even pick out a costume. I like just kind of wasn't feeling it. I don't know why. I'm like normally not someone who doesn't care about Halloween. I'm like a little bit indifferent to Halloween because I love the holiday season so much that I'm kind of just waiting for it to be over. But this weekend I did have quite a bit of FOMO, seeing everybody get dressed up and have such creative outfits. And I was, once again, partner's gone, best friend's gone. I had nobody to call, nobody to spend time with. I had a little bit of FOMO from being the person who was sitting at home and kind of watching from a distance on social media. Like, I was watching everybody like go out to crazy parties and bars and clubs and make really cute creative videos. And I was like, dang, I wish I was doing that. But like, also these people's videos, like, you know that it's them and their friends brainstorming these really fun, funky ideas. And a part of me was just envious and sad that I like didn't have that same experience this year. And I know that I'm kind of preparing for other stuff. I talk about this in a different episode that I think will come out before this one, that like I'm getting ready to go on a trip for my anniversary, and I've just kind of spent the weekend preparing for that element of my life and thinking about the holiday season and thinking about this trip that's next weekend and all this stuff. So for me, at least, I know that it wasn't really on the roster for me to go to Halloween or really have much of like a celebration. But normally I have at least like one or two things going on that I have to prepare for, and this year I didn't. And instead I was kind of alone and lonely. And combating that, I don't really know what I did. I still kind of feel it, truthfully. I don't really know that I've gotten, not that it's like, oh my gosh, it's something that I have to get over, but it's like, I kind of watched it and was like, dang, that does look really fun. And I am mad at myself a little bit that I wasn't more adventurous this year or sticking my neck out more to be a part of those things and be a part of going out with friends, or that I didn't like, I had an opportunity when I got home from my New York trip on Friday to like text all of my girlfriends and be like, is anybody going out, and can I come along with you if you do? And I kind of just chose not to. And I'm trying to think why I chose not to. But the truth is, I think I just didn't feel like being in a room with a bunch of people. I kind of felt like sitting at home. It sounded like a lot of work. And I know that I have a lot on my plate already. I was already traveling this week. And the truth is, like, I kind of chose loneliness over being around people. And that's not normally my MO. I'm normally somebody who would choose to go out and be with people in a heartbeat before I would choose being alone. I'm somebody who would much rather have a full schedule of stuff than quiet time all week. And I think maybe because of that, I'm feeling a little bit burnt out. And that's why I choose to be alone. I could be subtly self-isolating now that I'm saying this out loud. And that's not a bad, it's a bad thing if it happens for too long, I think. But it's not a bad thing for this moment in time for me. I think it's good to have like a moment where I know that I need to check in with myself and say, hey, you're doing a good job. I know this weekend's a fun one, but maybe we take a little time out and maybe we spend some time at home. And you want to know what? I hung out with my little brother and I ran 16 miles. I didn't actually have to spend all that much time alone, but I definitely have a little bit of FOMO from this past weekend. So because of that, I will be celebrating Halloween next year. Please start dropping ideas for what I'm going to do for my costume because I have no idea. The truth is, what I really wanted to do, this is a side note, Brew and I really wanted to be Sabrina Carpenter and the alien she made out with at the VMAs. I would obviously be Sabrina and he would be the alien. And I have a lot of regret that we didn't bring that idea to life this year. But I'm getting a suntan on Thursday, so I think it's going to be just fine. A little final element of this podcast today is this idea that I kind of spoke about at the beginning of the episode. Being alone versus being lonely. And I felt loneliness, I think, like true, genuine loneliness for the first time in a minute this weekend when I was on my way back from New York. And I actually texted Josh Brew, in case you don't know his first name is actually Josh. I texted him while I was sitting at the airport and like it was super quiet. I was alone at a table and I kind of had this realization. I was like, I'm feeling so lonely. And I don't think I often admit when I'm feeling that way because I love people and I'm often around them all the time. But even being in a room full of people, I felt lonely. I was in a room full of people at a Delta lounge and I was like, I feel like I'm the only person who exists right now. And being alone, I think, is something that's more physical versus being lonely is something that's so emotionally based. In the grand scheme of it all, like you can be around people and still feel alone in loneliness. But in alone time, you're kind of just separating yourself from the world, which I think can be a really good thing. I also love my alone time, but I don't always love the feeling of loneliness. So how do you combat that? And how do you like move yourself away from that emotion? The truth is, I think it kind of goes back for loneliness to implementing things in your life that make you feel comfortable. I actually have a crazy thing when I texted Brew that I was like, I'm feeling really lonely. And then what's wild is like the universe delivered me a friend. Crazy, I know, but get this. I get on my flight and the flight attendant is a girl I had met 3 months ago on a different flight that was going from Barcelona to New York to LA. She wasn't working the flight. She was like just in the seat to get a ride home. I don't really know exactly how that works for flight attendants, but she told me she wasn't working the flight, but she was still in like her flight attendant attire. She had seen that I was on my computer editing, and so she had come over and asked me about my editing, and we kind of hit it off and talked and followed each other on social media. And then what's so cute is like, then I had just texted Josh like, I'm so lonely. And then I get on a flight and immediately I had like this friend that was on the flight and she came over and visited with me and it was just like a familiar face. Okay. I think I feel a majority of my loneliness actually directly after I've had really incredible quality family time. Like I can pull this example from anything. Like even in New York, I had just spent the last 2 days, even though I was there for work, I stayed with my sister. I had great time. We went out for food. We went shopping. We went on walks. I did my videos. I shot self-tapes with her and her husband. Like we had this really great, wonderful quality time where we spent a lot of time in deep conversation. And then that juxtaposition of like quality time to like no one around but me. That's tough. I think that's why I felt so removed in that moment. I also think I've talked about this, the mountain analogy comes from this place. When I went to that camp, like that summer that retreat in the Malibu Mountains, pretty much the storyline was like I had just spent, I think that it hurt, I'm going to use the word hurt, even though that's maybe not the right word. It hurt me so bad to go away to that because I had just gone from my favorite time of year, Christmas, New Year's, quality time, family time, endless mom and dad, like all of this stuff, like my mom's cooking, literally everything that makes me feel safe and wonderful and full, to getting dropped off at 5 o'clock in the morning at a retreat where I was alone in a room, hiked by myself, did every activity alone, didn't know anybody there. And I think that it like hit me really hard on like day 2 or day 3 where I was like, I just feel so alone. I don't even feel alone. I feel so lonely. I just feel so removed from what makes me feel good. It wasn't that I was not content with being with myself, because I love to be by myself, but I do think that there's elements of comfort that you can implement into actually being physically alone or experiencing loneliness that combat that emotion from feeling like such a negative and so isolating to feel like this is a good thing, and to actually allow for you to open up your mind to that shift of, it's a bad thing to be alone to what a blessing it is to be alone. For me, I think it's getting comfortable with your space. I love where I live, so when I'm alone in this house, it makes me feel safe and happy and inspired and creative. I think that I love like a good book and TV shows and different hobbies. Like I said, like having that chance to make time for those things. I think also, this is silly, but like filling my space with sound. I have speakers in my whole place because I just love having music on. I love having a TV running. Like I like that background noise distraction. I also think it distracts me from the weird creaking of my house that makes me think that someone's haunting me in it. I will die on the hill that I think that my house is haunted. And I think that like in life, you're going to have a lot of moments where it's quiet and it's lonely, but just knowing that it's going to end. You're going to have people around you again. That stuff doesn't last forever. Like even in moments of like my most lonely and like my most isolating, where I was like, I'm not crazy about the feeling that I'm feeling in this moment. I always knew there was going to be a time where someone would enter my life and make such a difference. I always knew there was a time where like someone would like swoop in and come be a part of my day, or that if I was really in need of it, I could find it for myself in the people that I love, in the people that I admire, in family, in friends, or like in a random coffee shop and just have some people around you. Sometimes I love just going and people watching. That's a big way to combat your loneliness. Not to like, I know I literally just said the statement of like, you can be lonely and be in a crowd of people, but like, I also love watching people being around people. Does that make sense? Like going to a park and watching people interact, going to a coffee shop and like eavesdropping on other people's dates, like kind of obsessed. I feel like I'm in on it. So that's one of my favorite parts about loneliness, is that there's always a way to find your way out of it. All right, guys, it's time for my favorite part of my episode, which is hearing from you, some of my favorite humans on the other side of this headphone, on the other side of this microphone. And so today I asked you over on my Instagram, which if you don't know how to do this, follow along. Go to @AnnaXatar or @TheAnnaGuide, and you can check out on my Instagram stories the day of recording, which secretly is usually on a Monday. I will be posting on my Instagram stories a question that goes alongside of the topic that we're talking about on that episode. And so for this week, if you want to call in and be a part of it, you can call me at 323-433-0683. And today's question was actually, what's something that you do when you feel lonely? Because I kind of wonder that. Like, I'm a big book, movie, music, arts and crafts girly off the bat. Also, making a video. Chances are I'm making a video of doing any of those other things. So I'm so curious to hear what you guys do when you're feeling a little bit lonely, and maybe it will inspire you, listeners, or me, Anna, with what we can do when we're feeling a little bit down and lonely. Let's hear the first caller.
Hi, Anna. It's Evelyn. Your question for the week was, what do you do when you feel lonely? If I feel lonely, I immediately call up either my friends or my family, see if they can talk or FaceTime and catch up with them. Or sometimes I'll go out and meet up with them, get a coffee. It's always great catching up. Sometimes that's not possible, so I'll either look at some old videos or pictures, or sometimes some music really reminds me of memories and it gets me in the mood. Or even just watching a comforting movie, maybe just cozying up on the couch and with my blanket. That just really makes me not feel as lonely anymore. And those are just some of my tips. So yeah, I hope you're having a great day, and I love your podcast, and I'm so excited to continuing to hear more about your episodes. Bye.
Evelyn, I adore you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, I totally agree. Also, I didn't even think about that. Looking through old photos and videos, I feel like I'm constantly capturing stuff, so my camera roll is terrifying, but I totally agree. I actually love that face feature on the Apple iPhones where it's like it tells you about the people. Like you can click on the people and look at all the photos of that person. I don't know why. I feel like I go through that. And also the map, like the geotagged photo. If I need to like relive a memory, I'll just go back to an area and be like, oh my gosh, let's relive what my, college years looked like. Oh my gosh, let's relive what Barcelona looked like, what Paris looked like. Let's relive the Olympics. And like, does anybody else do that when they're on flights? I, for some reason, always go down a wormhole when I'm on an airplane. Like, I get like deep into the camera roll in a flight, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like hearting all these photos of like, this was such a good memory. Why don't I live like this anymore? And the truth is that you do. You're constantly living like that. You just don't even realize it, because then you look back in 3 years from now and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I live like that? And you literally were thinking that when you were living that 3 years ago. Anyway, that's a rant for another time. But I could not agree more that like, I am 100% the person who also calls family and friends and just checks in with them. And so I love that you do that as well. And I feel like it makes it feel like they're in the room with us. I told you, these things are good. Okay, let's hear one more.
Hey, Anna. Oh my God, I can't believe this is working. I'm Carol. I'm from Lima, Peru, and I just saw your story. And well, one of the things that I do when I feel like lonely, I just like stay home with my dog and cuddle him, put a good TV show or a movie, and get ice cream and chips just to eat and relax. And sometimes, well, I just go to the park and I love to see the ocean and just hear the sound of the waves and just breathe and relax and maybe do some meditation. So that's what I do. Well, hope you're good and I'll send so many hugs.
So many
Love you.
hugs.
Bye.
Love ya. Bye. Okay, wait, can I just say too, the change of space. I totally agree. Going to go see the ocean, like even Evelyn said in the last one, like going to a coffee shop with someone that you love and like kind of getting that quality time with someone, like true one-on-one time. I love. And oh my gosh, you said this and it made me think of this, baking. I feel like I bake when I'm lonely. The only dilemma is that then I don't have anybody to eat it with once I finish baking, and then I have to eat the entire tray of brownies by myself. Oh my gosh, that's like such a bummer. What am I gonna do with all these brownies? I eat them all in a day. They're phenomenal. I have a weird craving. Wait, TMI. I have a weird craving the week before my period every single month that I crave an entire batch of brownies. And who am I to not feed the craving? Katie will attest to this in college that we used to like be synced up and would do this together. And now I do it now alone. And it's really delicious. My mom always gets mad because I make them and then I don't take any home to her. But like, how am I going to drive them an hour and a half away? Anyway, that's one of my favorite things is like baking makes me feel so like seen and appreciated. And I think it gives you such a task that like it almost distracts you a little bit from the fact that no one's around. It's like just me and my muffins that I'm making. That's going to be my friend for the day. So, thank you so much for calling in, you guys. I appreciate you so much for always sharing your thoughts and perspective on my episodes. And I'm so happy that you're here and that I have you on the other side of the line. I am so excited for many more episodes to come on this podcast. So, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and also rate us over on YouTube by subscribing and commenting and giving us a big old thumbs up. You can find Anna's Guide podcast over on YouTube for full video episodes, or you can follow along on Instagram and TikTok at the Anna Guide, or my personal at Anna Exitar. Don't forget that you can also give us a call at 323-433-0683 with any thoughts, questions, opinions, and moments for this episodes. And I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for everything that you do and being a part of my life. You make it a lot less lonely, and so I'm so glad that I get to share it with you. I'll see you guys next week.